Hey guys, this is the first official recorded Brainwalk, right? Alright, so welcome to Brainwalk Startup. This is what it's all about. So here's a few rules about brainwalking. I don't want to say rules because it's not really about rules, but what's happening is I'm walking where most people, including myself, would usually drive, okay? So the thing is, you're walking where you would usually drive. So what does that mean? That means it could be 1 mile, it could be 10 miles, it could be 15 miles, it could be 5 miles, whatever it is. I want you to walk where you would usually drive, okay? The second thing is don't worry about when or if you'll arrive. So what that means is that if you're walking and you decide, you know what, let me Lyft or Uber the rest of the way, go ahead and do that. It doesn't really matter. It's not about getting there. Woo, this is big stuff. It's not about getting there. It's not about your arrival. It's not even about how you're arriving. But it does matter that in your mind, in your thought process, you have the intent of going in that direction. The third thing is think, right? Think. Now, if you want to rhyme it with the first two, it'd be walk where you usually drive, don't worry about where or if you'd arrive, and don't give a F about who drives by. That's the thing. So why does all this matter? The thing about brainwalking, the reason why it's so powerful is that obviously we know activity is going to stimulate your thoughts, it's going to waken you up, it's healthy for you. We usually say go for a walk to cool down, go for a walk to think about something. I need to go for a walk. So it's already known that's opening up our thought processes, right? But what's going on with Brainwalk that's even further than that is that when you walk where you would usually drive, you're doing something different. When you do something different, what's going on, let me change hands, is that it causes your brain to basically engage in something that's called divergent thinking. And when you are trying to problem solve, or when you're trying to create, what you need and what's going to benefit you the most is divergent thinking, okay? The reason why that's so important is when you do what everyone else does, you're going to have what everyone else has, which is status quo. Status quo is not going to make you grow. Okay, status quo isn't going to get you funded if you're a startup. Status quo isn't going to make your company be set apart from other people. Status quo isn't going to do anyone else any good, all right? So when you have divergent thinking as a tool for yourself, it's going to open up so many different things. Right now on this brainwalk that I'm on, I think the distance to where I'm going is 8 miles, 6.8 miles, something like that. And I won't have this going that entire time. That'll be a long one, but it's a pretty decent walk. And it's raining right now. And the thing is, so what, right? So what that it's raining? So what that it's 6.8 miles? What happens when you see 6.8 miles, especially as in America, wenn ihr seid in Deutschland, dann das ist auch ein bisschen lang und du willst einen Bus vielleicht nehmen oder ein Zug vielleicht, so 6 Miles ist eine lange Reise zu gehen. But oh cool, I've got water boots on, so this will be, oh, don't get splashed on. So all these cars are driving by, and that's a little bit about what I mean about not paying attention and not worrying about that too, because they could be looking at you like, what's going on? And that's another powerful thing to brainwalking and who we are. Startup community, gamers, right? Thinkers, right? Creators, influencers. One of the most important ingredients you're going to need to have, that you probably already have, is that you think differently, that you are different, okay? And the point to this Brainwalk community is it's certainly lonely to be that way. It can be challenging at times, but you must stay the course. So in one sense, this is a community where you can stay encouraged. In another sense, this is a community where I guess Austin is similar to this. I should reach out to Austin. Austin has a thing, it's called Stay Weird, right? They don't want to be mainstream, so that's a cool point. Lady Gaga has a group of followers. I think they're called her Little Monsters, I think. I don't know the name of them, but the point of hers has also something to do with being weird and being accepted for who you are, something like that. So the Brainwalk community, I'm gonna keep on talking about it because this is the first official post for the Brainwalk community, the Brainwalk startup, is about fostering that creative behavior. It's like the ultimate idea hub, you know, and that's the power and intent behind this community. There's a lot of cool things they have in the works, a lot of cool ideas I have for it, but I want to start off cultivating just these like-minded people, because it's important that you keep that weirdness. It's important that you keep that, and I don't want to say don't lose it, because then there's a subconscious command going here that doesn't hear negative commands, and you might lose it on purpose. But it's important that you keep it, right? So I also have PSP, Public Speaking Pros, where I help tech startups get funded by massively improving their public speaking skills. And the thing that can happen when you get funded is you can start to have a behavior that thinks that you should act a certain way, that you should buy a certain thing. You get $100 million in funding, there are behaviors that you may think you're supposed to have. This is important. There are behaviors that you think you're supposed to have, and as you try to engage with those behaviors, they have repercussions. So for example, let's just be extreme, buying a yacht, buying this, doing that, dressing a certain way. The problems with doing that and not adjusting emotionally, which is the point of the Brainwalk community, to kind of help you feel comfortable being who you were when you created that magic, is that you start to become unhappy. You become unhappy, you get stressed, you have anxiety, you experience those sort of things, then you start missing things. You start missing the things that matter in your company. You miss those things and your company starts to go down. You go down, then you don't make it to the next round of funding, and that's another whole level of stress, and you end up where you were at the beginning. And here's the crazy thing. You want to maintain who you are, while at the same time, I don't want to say changing who you are, but improving on the habits that you have, because that's what real change is anyways. So you will not be who you are right now when you get to where you want to be. You will not be who you are right now when you get to where you want to be. So it could sound contradictory because I'm saying you don't want to change who you are. So let me just clarify that one more time. There are habits and there are core things that you need to change, that will change, that are a requirement to change in order for you to reach the vision that you have. Then there are other things that you want to keep. And of course there's a balance between and behind knowing what to keep and what to get rid of. But that's the point of PSP, which is my Public Speaking Pros company. But understanding that delicate balance, and also what Bruce Lee talks about. Get rid of what is useless and keep what is useful. What is serving you, what is pushing you ahead. So one of the things to that in regards to Brainwalk is this. I'm walking right now, okay? When you have whatever kind of car you want to drive, your Porsche, for me it's Tesla, when you have that, why wouldn't you drive it around all the time? Well, maybe before you had that, what did you do to get those ideas? Did you walk to the corner market? Did you go to Starbucks for a while? Well, now you have a nice office, right? Now you've got a nice location, but somehow something's going stale. You know what? Sam Ovens is from New Zealand. I haven't interacted with him personally, but I think he's probably remarkable from what I can see. Seems very straightforward, very honest. I think he's probably really great. Anyways, he's from New Zealand. He comes up to Manhattan. Manhattan is seemingly very different than New Zealand. And then now he's heading over to California. I believe that California is more similar to New Zealand than Manhattan. But you end up going through this loop, which is very normal and very human, okay? And the point of the Brainwalk community, really, I would say like this, the point of the Brainwalk community is to help you hold on to those things that are useful to you. Not that you don't change, because you're gonna need to change. Not that you don't adopt new and better habits, because you're going to need to adopt new and better habits. Not that you don't grow, because you're going to need to grow. But that you hold on to those things that served you and will continue to serve you from the beginning. That is what, I think it's Adam Grant talks about being original. The Originals. There's a beautiful TED Talk. It was very inspiring for me. I think I posted it here in the Twitter feed, so you can scroll down and find it. But he did it off of The Originals, and it dealt with a certain form of procrastination. He's talking about Warby and Parker, the glasses guys, who Forbes spoke about, and they're valued at $1 billion now. And he passed on the investment because they were behind. Their website didn't come up in time. Like a day before it needed to, so that's kind of like for real procrastination. But they were really studying other things. And so while he was looking for behaviors that would, I guess, be identified by typical corporate America expectations, like looking a certain way, appearing a certain way, meeting deadlines a certain way, that sort of behavior was actually not conducive to their ability to be originals and to enter the market where they were and now be valued at $1 billion. So what I'm hoping, and what I think what I hope for this Brainwalk community is that other people will also take a look at you when you're here. They'll take a look at this Brainwalk community, and they will not look for the status quo, and that the out of the norm behaviors will not simply be accepted, but they will be more understood. And the important thing for us to understand while we're here is even while we're not understood, that's okay. Everyone in the world wants to be understood. Everyone. And one of the biggest pains that people experience is when they're not understood. That hurts. And so, no matter how, I'm extremely confident. You know what I mean? I can't help it. My middle name, my name is Israel Jerome, but hey, call me JB at PSP, Public Speaking Pros. But the J is for Jerome. And Jerome means holy. And holy in Hebrew is kadosh. And kadosh really means set apart. So some people think holy means and it does, but it's not about it's about what does mean. It means that this thing is special for some purpose, right? It's set apart for something else, for a different reason. So you got basketball shoes and you have running shoes. So the running shoes would be set apart for a particular reason. So when it comes to the Jerome aspect of me and who I am, I very naturally am set apart. The things that I do differently. And so for me, even though that's natural, it comes with definitely feeling alone or definitely not being understood, that sort of thing. And that's what the Brainwalk community is here for. That we just accept these different, I guess, behaviors or quirks. And it's not about, hey, you're okay with who you are or not. If you're a lazy, good for nothing, uncontributing member of the world, this is not for you. This is not your place. This is a place for people who want to contribute, have something to contribute, have a message to say, have something they want to give, have a way that they want to serve the world, all right? That's who this community is for. Influencers, thought leaders, okay? people who are make world changers for the good. All right, that's who this is for. Not a place to just hang out and be cool and be accepted. It is not about being accepted. It's about making changes. But what comes along with being a world changer is you think like probably the 1 to 10% of people. So along with that comes other things that you need support for, and that's Brainwalk. We explain it lots of times because we have time while I'm on this trillion-mile walk. And that's the thing. If I were at home right now, if I just drove home, and I were at home, you know what I'd be doing? Very productive things, but I wouldn't be doing a Brainwalk post like this. If I were at home, I'd be making very important phone calls. I'd be sending out emails. All need to be done. But when you go for a Brainwalk, it enables you to do the things that you wouldn't be able to do or that you wouldn't do otherwise. I'm actually getting ready to get on a meeting right now for PSP. So you can have meetings while you're Brainwalking. You know, just walk a bit slower so you're not panting. I tend to walk pretty fast. But so you can have meetings while you're on it. Send messages, be careful, pay attention to where you're walking, what you're doing. But I'll post some more. And here's the thing. When you go on a Brainwalk, go on a Brainwalk and post your video. Share the thoughts that you have, share your feelings about it. Whatever comes to your mind, put that phone up in the air and just talk. There are ideas that you're gonna have. You're gonna walk across a sign, right? You're gonna walk across, I don't know, it's a mailbox. You're gonna walk across something that's gonna say, wait a second, you know what this could be? Boom. And then you're gonna make notes. Now, maybe I can get sponsors for this sort of thing, right? I'm walking in this jacket and these shoes. We can get sponsors for that. I take notes in a particular thing, right? But that's what, those are the tools that you'll need while you're Brainwalking as well. But write those notes down, right? Write those notes down. Something's gonna spark it. I'm walking past the house right now with 2 flags. Usually one of the flags is a German flag, the other is American. Und ich bin auch Deutscher. So, wenn du sagst, er kommt aus Deutschland und du kannst hier auch ein Like-Klick und du kannst auch uns folgen und sag etwas und du kannst auf Deutsch sprechen oder du kannst auf Englisch sprechen. Das macht nichts. Aber herzlichen Glückwunsch zum Brainwalking. So, anyways, that's what I want you to do. Go for a walk, video it, write something that popped up in your mind. Share this with other people that you feel are world changers, influencers, thought leaders. You know, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who you are. One of the things, I'm gonna keep going for a moment. This is a long one. But one of the things is like this. The greater you become, and the more you rub shoulders with other great people, you start to realize that they are also just people. And my father has that perspective for sure. He says it's just a guy, and that helps me out a lot when I'm pitching, when I'm public speaking. But there are 2 ways you can go with this. You can go the direction that says he's just another guy, whatever, and not have respect. That's not how we do things. It's not how BSP teaches it. But if you understand, in one sense, there's no difference between you and this other person. Here's what that's gonna do. Here's what it should do for you. Here's what I'm gonna recommend that it does for you. Realize the thing that makes the other person different from this other person is their choice, okay? Their habits, their choices to push harder, push further, to reach out to somebody that they were nervous of doing or reaching out to, okay? So, Brainwalk is for Elon Musk. I believe he's a world changer. He seems like a good person. I believe he's a thought leader. I believe that he intends good. That's a big deal. I believe he takes action. Okay. Few other world changers, thought leaders. Even your neighbor could be. So in that sense, speaking of that, there's a nice Tesla. Here's the Model S. I like the X. I have a lot of children. We have a big family, so we're going for the X. But anyways, so that's who it's for. So this isn't an exclusive community. This isn't, this strata, I understand where LinkedIn is coming from, that you have to pay to reach out to this person, but this hierarchy of people, I guess it was like man in the high castle, they don't want to be reached by these other people. That's not what Brainwalk is all about. In one sense, I'm not trying to put us on the same platform, because the truth is there is a difference. And if you're a taker, you have no business reaching out to somebody like Elon Musk or Gary Vaynerchuk. You don't have any business reaching out to them, okay? So don't, right? So then what they actually have to do is they have to protect themselves from people who are takers. They have to protect themselves from people who are just wanting to grab on their coattails and get popular by showing up on their blog or whatever they have. However, if you are a giver, and you are somebody who's a world changer, thought leader, a brainwalker, if that's what you are, then you're an equal. And then you can collaborate, work together. That's the value you provide. Hope that makes sense. So, I don't know how we're gonna continue to build this community. I have a lot of ideas, but as we build it, I don't know, maybe we should be careful with like brainwalk badges, you know what I mean? Like, how do we determine if somebody's an actual influencer? I don't know. The thing that happens when you scale twos is just like we have with MTV. They're like, oh man, he's a sellout. It's happened in the movie Sing. We were watching with the kids the other day, Sing. And then Scarlett Johansson's character, Ash, and then the boyfriend, he was like, you're a sellout. Because she's chosen to sing in the competition by the Matthew McConaughey character, the koala bear. And she's like, I'm doing it for us, whatever. No, I'm good. Yes, right. I'm doing good, man. It's something called brainwalking. I'm actually posting about it right now. Thank you. See, that was a good person. That was a good person right there. Great person. I've driven a Subaru once. I think the energy of Subaru and those people are like, not just outdoorsy, but I don't know, they seem like positive people, Oregon type people. I like Oregon. Anyway, so that's an example. Young people gonna drive by. You wanna ride? What are you doing? No, man, I'm brainwalking. So, a couple more miles, I might have been like, yeah, give me a ride. I'm getting. I had enough thinking. So, no, but and that would have been okay, by the way. Let's say you got it out and you hit that point, and you'll probably know when you hit that magical moment. Somebody asks you if you want to ride. Hop in and take it. You still brainwalked. Okay, it's not about, that's what I meant, not worrying about when you arrive or if you arrive. It isn't about, I'm gonna walk from point A to point B. The whole point is getting to point B. No, that's not the whole point. Okay, that was what I'm saying about the rule number 2. The whole point is not getting to point B. So that's a very, very important point, because psychologically, somebody's gonna break this down, which I already have, as to why brainwalking is genius. I have a few other techniques that are part of the PSP program, but really, they kind of go hand. Well, there's all kinds of these little, they're not biohacks, but little techniques that help. But the reason it's important and huge is because it's about the journey, not the destination, which is a popular typical quote. But I don't even want to say it's about the journey. It's about what well, I guess that's what that means, but what happens while you're on the journey. What happens while you're on the journey? What ideas come to mind when you're on the journey? It's not about relaxing. It's not about exercise. It's not about making a point. It's not about making a statement, because that's all about you. And this isn't about you. That's the point of brainwalking too. This is about the world. This is about helping people. This is about, yeah, I don't want to say making the world a better place, but you know, doing what you came here to do. That's what this is about. Okay? So let's not get lost. Let's not get lost along that way. And I think, you know what, I bet at some point this first video is going to be a very important reference point, because I think here is where we really outline. And the thing is true. Listen, I'm human as well. You know, so like it takes a lot of work to be the person, whomever it is that you want to be. That takes a ton of work. And the more work you do, and the higher you go, car coming, the higher you go, the more you're going to start to realize why most people are not thought leaders. You're going to see it, and you're not going to criticize them anymore. Because you're going to realize, how could you possibly expect that someone else would be able to do the level of work it actually takes to be a billionaire? Like, how could you possibly expect that? Because it isn't about being a billionaire. That's useless. But what you do with yourself, it's habits that create those outcomes. Those are simply outcomes. It's not a goal. I want to be a millionaire. What the hell does that mean? It almost angers me when people say that. I feel like Gary Vaynerchuk. That question pisses me off. But it almost angers me when people say that, because, like, not only is that selfish as all get out, but what does that even, you want to be a millionaire? What's that even mean? I want to be a millionaire. I'm going to say you either are or you aren't. Billionaire, millionaire, they're different types of people, by the way. Billionaires are very different than millionaires, very different than multimillionaires, very different than other people, different types of people. So you're going for this outcome. Will Smith mentioned the quote that the Marines have. I grew up military, Army. Shout out to my father, shout out to the Army. And father was 21 years, so I was born and raised. Ich bin Deutsch natürlich, aber mein Vater hat meine Mutter kennengelernt in Deutschland, weil hat so nach Deutschland gekommen und dann wir haben wieder nach Amerika gekommen. So my father met my mother in Germany. So I'm German citizen, but also American citizen. Don't worry about it, I'm not gonna get exported. And what were we talking about? That the Army, and so I was born and raised there. I was also in Fort Sill, and just right until I was an adult, like 16, 17 years old ish. Didn't live off base, off post. So civilians are still strange. If somebody drives ridiculous, like they run a light, then they driving like a civilian. Like that's how different civilians are to my mind. But and then I went to, my story is, I help people with public speaking now because I direct and I produce and I act. I went to college, pre-medical exercise physiology, University of South Carolina. And I was a physiologist for a number of years, but in my second year, I got booked for my first film called Radio with Cuba Gooding Jr. and Ed Harris. I was a basketball player in it. Then I got an agent, then I did commercials. Then I was the Hungry Man, did the international commercials as the Hungry Man. Then I was in Prison Break on Fox. This guy was asking about that this morning. My character's name was Tico. I was Hispanic. I had to speak Spanish too, I think. Season 3. Anyway, so doing all that brought me to realize, and then I did performances. I did a performance with, was it Hello Dolly? No, it wasn't Hello Dolly. That was an inspirational musical theater piece for me, surprisingly. But I did with James Algahart. We were in a show together. Texas, he was the genie in Aladdin. He's on the show now with, on Netflix, Touch, with, man, I forget the name of the guy right now. I forget. Anyway, so Small World, then I was on stage with Lou Diamond Phillips and Jensen Ackles, and then we did In a Few Good Men and all that stuff. So all of that experience gave me a lot of stage experience. I performed in front of thousands of people and 20 people. And 20 people, I think most people know, is much more intimidating than thousands. You could hear him breathe, you could see him think, whatever. So 20 is definitely more challenging than 1,000. But that helped me to be comfortable public speaking, right? And then I wanted to direct, so I met Fritz Kirsch, who's director of Children of the Corn, and then Gray Fredrickson, one of the producers of the Godfather trilogy in Oklahoma, connected with them, and they were so kind. And that connected me to a beautiful friend of mine named Travis, and then started directing. And then I continued to direct and produce, and then I did some of the films for Transamerica, Fortune, a big company, insurance, across North America. So I did a lot of those. And then I realized as I was directing and producing those, I was helping people get comfortable in front of the camera. CEOs, salespeople, didn't matter, whomever it was, getting comfortable in front of the camera. So then I realized not only did I have all these 15 plus years of public speaking skill, I had all those years also of helping people get comfortable with public speaking, getting comfortable in front of the camera as a director. So that led to PSP, where that's what I focus on, helping tech startups get funded. Because really for them, if you have an amazing idea, an amazing product, amazing whatever, and you can't pitch it, then that's like, I said the other day, it's like a lion without teeth. You know, if your algorithm is good, but you can't pitch it, and you need funding. And it also raises your valuation because you need to be a leader. There's a lot of things you need to be. So that brings back to the military, which says that, well, the quote that Will Smith was talking about that the Marines have is that everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die. That's right. Good quote, yeah? Everybody wants to go to heaven, but no one wants to die. So, means people don't want to get hurt, they don't want to go through pains, they don't want to go through struggles. And I guess that brings me back to the type of person you are and the habits that comes to Millionaire and Billionaire. And then there's a show, Silicon Valley, that I guess kind of talks to my demographic of founders and CTOs. And this guy was like, he's a billionaire, and he said, "Oh, I'm sorry, is it hard to be a billionaire? Is it hard to become a billionaire?" You know, because it's like, I guess so many people get a misconception as to what that is to have that outcome, right? That it leads to other crippling behaviors, just everything. But the problem again, that's what brainwalking does too. When you're posting, you go all over the place, but it's okay because at the end, it'll come together in something you never expected it to be. So I'm just filming that process now, so we'll see where it ends up. But the point with that, we talk about Silicon Valley, and then pretty field, and then let's see where we were. The military, not going through those pains, becoming that person who gets those outcomes. Is it hard to be a billionaire, says that guy. Yeah, exactly. So same thing I share with my kids, this is what I was going to say, is that this is a very big topic, but the principle begins here. So like, this is Brainwalk, so don't get it. Let's keep things what matters, right? But the things like this, our gun, I personally really don't like guns, but that's, for me, I grew up military. My entire, I was born, I don't know what that's like to you guys, but my father says I'm more military than him because he came in when he was 17. So, but that's all I knew. That's the beginning of my brain. So when I I just saw, guns and Humvees and trucks and olive drive. That was normal. So it happens in Israel too. You grow up seeing that, but it's different. Israel is different because it's not like you're on a base. It really mixes with civilians. Whereas in American military, you're isolated to this community where everybody is that way. And the thing that I suggest, cornfield, muddy cornfield. See, right now I'm walking in a mud field or cornfield. My shoes are all right. They're pretty good. But maybe see that? That car just splashed me. So I have jeans on. Is there a type of material that is jean-like but is waterproof? Then I would probably start to draw a prototype. Side note, but see, that's how brainwalking works. Somebody has that idea, mention it here first, and let's partner up on that somehow. You develop it, I'll help you pitch it. How about that? Whoa, that's interesting. Can you see those birds? That's cool. Right. So, about becoming that person, what I was talking about also is that even though I don't like guns, I still know how to use one, right? Because the problem isn't theoretically, if there are problems, the problem isn't the gun, it's the person behind the gun. So many, I don't want to say stupid, but it is a stupid, faulty outlook to blame the gun on certain things. Now that doesn't mean that somebody should or shouldn't have access to whatever, and how to go about that. Those are complex psychological situations that we could talk about at a different time, a different space. But the point is, in the same way the problem is really the person. If you have a good person who's doing good with that situation, that gun or that knife or whatever, you can get a lot of good from it. If you have a person who's messed up, you can get a lot of bad. But really, using the same tool. That's the same thing that happens with public speaking too, though. You know, you could have a person, you know, like some other speakers in our past, say like Hitler, who did a lot of horrendous things with his tongue, with his speech. Then you could have somebody like Martin Luther King, who did beautiful things with his speech. And that's all the power of speech, again. Okay? So, the point with that in regards to the military and that great saying of not wanting to go to hell is that the problem isn't seeing somebody succeed quickly. So you think like, yeah, the problem is there's overnight successes, and that makes other people think that they can have it, and it causes them to have ridiculous behaviors and youth to be disrespectful because they think they should be respected just because they're 15. But the problem again is really goes back to parenting, or the problem goes back to the person. It's not necessarily the way the culture is now. Like, you don't need to blame these other things. Like, what are you doing about it to develop this human being in a way that can be a respectful person that contributes? So that's one of the things I think. I don't know where Gary Vee is coming from when he talks about why kids should have more times on screens, but that's a controversial thing to say. But I think the point again, though, is that the problem isn't the screen. And I wouldn't suggest that they need more time on it. I don't know. He's probably just countering another extreme statement with another extreme statement, which is one good way to deal with an argument. But I would simply say, as always, it comes down to balance. That's what it's really all about. So, when it comes to your billion-dollar company or multi-million-dollar company, and you being a billionaire or multi-millionaire, it comes down to you being that person and being willing to go to hell. Or not go to hell, die, to then go to heaven. Metaphorically speaking, don't get all whooshy on me. So, and that comes down to Brainwalk, which really comes down to this community that supports you keeping the things that you need to keep in order to accomplish the things that you need to accomplish, right? The point is breaking societal norms so that you can have massive breakthroughs, okay? So that is important. It isn't about being different, looking different, being accepted, blah, 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 just because you want people to accept you. That's not the Brainwalk community. It's about doing things that other people think are weird so that, or if, you can then create something good and beneficial for everyone. And again, this is also not some non-for-profit thing where this is just the charity, the goodness of your heart, because that's bunk too. There is none of that. There's no such thing. There isn't of that. The non-profits are a tax shelter. I'm not saying they're scams. I'm just saying it's a tax shelter and people do benefit. It's just like reporting no profit in $1 billion business. CEOs are still taking home millions of dollars that they can spend on things that they're benefiting from. So I just don't want you to be confused about that or the mission. And I don't want you to be so altruistic that says people should do things for free. No, they shouldn't. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Money, again, just like a gun, isn't a problem. With that money, you can do good things. So don't hate on those tools that can help you and help the world. Okay, this is a lot of perspective shifts here, but really clarity about defining who and what the Brainwalk community is. So, all right, thank you for tuning in. This is a really long one. Let me know if you think I should make it 3 minutes, 1 minute, 30 seconds, 10 minutes, like in Instagram stuff, or let it be this whole long 40 minutes. This is so long. But let me know if this benefited you. If it did, share it, like it, retweet it, invite other change makers, world changers, thought influencers, people who are known to be great and small. It doesn't mean that they are great or small. It just means people who are known. If you've got tons and tons and tons of followers, but you're not providing value, that's not a change. That's not a brainwalker, right? If you have a few followers but you're providing value, awesome. Come on in. If you are Elon Musk, join it. Help push us through. Get the word out to other brainwalkers. If you have a connection to other positive, good people who understand or even see what this is going to become, send it to them, invite them in. All right, thank you so much, guys. I was gonna say I love you, but like, I believe in you, and you come here, get encouraged, go out, and make a change. All right, talk soon.